Welcome back to another deep dive. This is our 94th exploration, and we're diving back into Dante's Paradise, a really profound part of the journey.
That's right. We're picking up, where we left off in the heaven of the fixed stars.
Hmm.
Remember Dante's examination on charity
Ah.
and meeting Adam?
Oh, absolutely. That convergence of divine love and, well, human origin.
Exactly. And it's fascinating how the path just keeps unfolding from there in really quite powerful ways.
It really does. So today we're heading up, ascending into the 27th canto of Paradise. And our mission, as always, is to see what's in this canto for us. What powerful, useful lessons can we pull out for our own lives, our own journeys? Okay, so Dante is still there, in eighth heaven, the fixed stars, and he sees this incredible spectacle, all the blessed souls, they just burst into song singing Gloria like a huge celestial symphony.
Beautiful image. But that harmony doesn't last long. It gets broken pretty dramatically, actually.
Right.
St. Peter himself suddenly becomes, well, inflamed, glows with this fierce reddish light, pure indignation. And he launches into this really violent, invective, furious denunciation.
Against the church's corruption.
Precisely. Against the contemporary church. He specifically calls out popes who've turned his tomb into, and these are his words, a sewer of blood and stench.
Wow, a sewer. That's incredibly strong. And the reddening, it's such a striking visual, isn't it?
It really is.
It immediately makes you think of martyr's blood, a stark contrast to the usual golden light you expect in paradise. It's rare to see that kind of physical display of divine anger up there. Really underlines how serious Dante viewed this corruption.
And if you connect that imagery that sewer St. Peter talks about, it directly echoes the mud and filth Dante saw way back in the early circles of hell.
Ah, so it's like saying the corruption on earth has made it a mirror of hell itself.
Kind of, yeah. It suggests exactly that. It's this terrifying parallel. Remember Canto 1 of Inferno? Dante lost in the dark wood of his personal sin. Here it's bigger. It's the collective, the institutional straying of the church.
That's a heavy thought. So after this powerful, fiery speech, what happens next?
Well, the text says the entire heaven seems to change color, almost blushing, as if in shame. And then Beatrice announces it's time to ascend again to the ninth heaven, the Primum Mobile.
The final sphere.
The final material sphere, yes. And during the ascent, Beatrice explains what it is. It's the fastest heaven, the absolute quickest, because it's moved directly by God's love, God's desire, and everything else. All time, all space in the universe depends on it.
So it's not just about, like, old school physics.
Not just. I mean, yes, it reflects medieval cosmology, but it's showing something deeper. That the highest spirituality, the closest connection to the divine, doesn't mean escaping the world. It actually governs the world. It orders reality. It sets the very rhythm of existence.
Okay, so let's bring this back to us. As Dante is taking all this and the anger, the shame, the ascent, this ultimate sphere, what wisdom is embedded here for our own lives? What can we learn?
Well, first off, St. Peter's anger. It's presented not as a sin, right, but as a holy indignation, a righteous anger against serious injustice.
Right.
And that teaches us, I think, that sometimes being indifferent, just standing by, is actually moral complicity. You should be moved by injustice.
That makes sense.
And tied to that is the responsibility of leadership. His denunciation hammers home that leaders have this amplified responsibility, their mistakes, their corruption. It doesn't just hurt them. It damages everyone they're supposed to lead or serve.
Yeah, that really resonates, that weight of responsibility.
Yeah.
And thinking about the Primum Mobile, Beatrice's explanation reminds us that time isn't just, clocks ticking. It has a spiritual source, which means every moment isn't just passing time. It's a sacred opportunity, a chance to align ourselves, maybe.
Exactly. A sacred opportunity not to be wasted. And then there's Beatrice's prophecy near the end of the canto. It suggests that even when things look incredibly dark, historically speaking, the divine plan is still working. Renewal will come.
So it's a call for hope, but not passive hope.
Right, it's an active hope, the kind that fuels commitment, that drives you to act, believing change is possible.
And that brings us back to the Primum Mobile itself, this idea that the highest spiritual viewpoint doesn't pull you away from the world, but gives you the perspective to understand it, maybe even transform it. That balance.
That harmony between contemplation and action. How do we find that in our own lives? That's the big question it leaves you with, I think.
So as we wrap up this dive into Canto 27, what really stands out to you? For me, it's that potent mix, the righteous anger, yes, but also that determined, active hope, all grounded in understanding our place in time and our duties.
Yeah. And looking at the bigger picture, Dante's journey here, it's not just some dusty medieval poem, is it? It feels like a timeless guide. It keeps showing us that even the deepest spiritual ideas have very real, practical consequences for how we actually live, how we act day to day.
A truly powerful deep dive into, well, the human journey and maybe its divine compass. Thank you for joining us on this exploration.
Always a pleasure.
We look forward to our next deep dive together.